Okay, Mr. Cornelius Nepos is on the menu today. 9-4. However, now I have fled to you. By all Greece, ex agitatus. He's being hounded. Um, and here's what he's doing. He's tense. He's seeking your friendship. And it's in the first person, so I'm seeking your friendship. Which, if I shall obtain this friendship, me will not be less good you will have as a friend than expertus est. Now he's put himself in the third person. Then he was as a brave enemy. So he's just switching tenses for himself. So if you get my friendship, you'll have as good a friend as you had a brave enemy. Okay, so I read back what went before this, and he was talking about he'd been an enemy under Xerxes. So this would be the brave enemy that Xerxes had expertus ested. Anyway, moreover, I ask you, I'll leave the audio out for now, concerning these things, things which I want to speak with you. Volo colloquy, what he wants to speak about. Des, you give me, okay, looks like Ut and Des here, so that he's asking that you give me a year of time. As we know, a year is in time. And with this transacted, with this, once this time's passed up, then that you should allow venir ad te, that you should allow me to come to you. 10. The Rex, admiring the magnitude of his mind, his magnanimousness, his high spirit, and Cupien's present participle, and desiring such a man to be conciled to him, since they were previously enemies, he gave him veniam, gave him pardon to do such a thing. He, Ili, I guess that's him, omni tempus, so it's a neuter, so all this time he dedicated himself, okay, so this is Themistocles, he's dedicated himself to learning, it looks like, the letters and speech of the Persians, so he prepared himself for a year learning things. Adio, or to such an extent he was erudite in, he was educated in quibuses, quibus being literus and sermon, that he is said to have been more commodious by much, more apt to it amongst the king, to have made words. So he's in writing and in speaking, he's made his words more suitably, quam, than those were able to who Nartyrant had been born in Perside, in Persia. Hic, that'd be a person, I don't think it's here. When Polycatus esset, so when he had promised multa, as a neuter plural, many things, to the dative king, and the most gratissimum, the most pleasing of these things which had been promised to the king, that it was if the king had wanted to utai, taking the ablative, if the king had wanted to use his consilis, his plans or advice, suis is means his own, he, I'm guessing now, that's the king, he would oppressurem, he would overwhelm Graeciam, Greece in bello, in war, with many ablative absoluted gifts donated by Artaxerxes, the king. Looks like he now returned into Asia, and he constituted for himself a domicile or a house, so he's settled in at this place called Magnesia. 3. Namqui. 4. The Rex, the nominative, the king, had donated to him, given him, Hanc Urbem. He'd given him the city where he was constituted at, Magnesia, with these indeed words, truly with these words. The city which would offer to him panem, bread. So the city would supply him with bread, from which region, so I guess it's also around the city, it returned, or its yearly amount, quatanus, was quinquaginta talents, so was that 500 talents or so? Or tem, so moreover, a place called Lampsacum, from where he could assume wine, where he could take up wine. And looks like this third place, Myanta, from which he had his opsoniums, his provisions. Huis is that of him, to our memory, to our age, maybe you might want to say, there remains duo monumenta. Duo going with the plural there. A sepulchrum near the town in which he is buried. So he's got a tomb. That's one of these monuments. The other one is a statue in the Forum at Magnesia. What the hell have I done there? Okay. 4. Concerning the death of Hercuius, of him, there are multimodus ways among plerosqui, among a lot of writers. It's been scriptomes. So concerning his death, there are a variant of things written. But nos, us, we most prefer, we approve of the same author, Thucydides, who said that illum, by a sickness at Magnesia mortum, was dead. Nequi, so he's denying the famem, the rumour, that by venenum, by poison, sponte of his own accord, that he had some sissy. Nequi negat, 2 negatives there, but anyway, it looks like he's denied that of his own accord he took some poison with some circumstances when the things which he had promised to the king concerning the oppressing of Greece, he despaired that he would be able to bestow it, praestare. The idem, the same historian, clam secretly that the bones of his were in Attica, sepulted, buried by his friends, since by law it was not conceded for him to be buried there, because, quod, he was condemned, damnatus, of betrayal. So idem, the same guy, hands it into memory with this other account of the secret burial. Now, Hannibal. Okay, so it's not the cannibal, it's Hannibal, the famous guy from Livy book 22, etc. Hamilcar was the filius of Hamilcar. He was the son, and he was a Carthaginian. The answer comes from third declension locatives. If it is true, si verum est, which no one dubitats, that no one doubts, it's not a queen here, it's an ut, that the Roman people are superior of it, they overcome or are better than all the gentes, all the nations in virtue or valour, non infitium, another 2 negatives here, so it's not to be not confessed, so it should be confessed. That's the gerund of must be done. It's a gerund with an est. Must be confessed that Hannibal, in the accusative, tanto, what's that about? Tanto quanto correlatives. Hannibal praestidusi, the others. He was better than the other emperors or generals in prudentia, in his wisdom of thought. Tanto, as much as tanto quanto, the Roman people anteceded, they were preferable to, they outstood or were better at all the cuncta nations, same as omnes gentes, cunctus is another adjective meaning all, in fortitude. So Hannibal was in wisdom better than the rest, as the Romans were better with their bravery. Okay, so I've just set up infitium as the daily dictionary word. Anyway, 2. 4. Whenever he had congress with the Romans in Italy, whenever he fought with them, he always discessited, he always left superior, with the better, the upper hand. Infitior, deponent, contradict, deny, disown, not confess. So denying and not confessing is the gist of it. Can repudiate a claim or withhold. I don't really see that too often. Top 20,000 words. Back to the story. Quad, we'll take it as because for now. Because unless at home, because he had been debilitated at home unless this had happened, by the invidia, the jealousy of his own citizens, unless this had happened, it seemed he would have been able to superare the Romans. He would have been able to overcome and defeat the Romans. But by the obtractatio, the complaints of the many at home in Carthage, but this complaining conquered the virtue of Unius. Unius, one of the 99 praetor nominatives or whatever they're called.